Hi, this is Vicki Romaine with Cheerful Greetings, and we're going to do a little interesting element today in our cards. It's going to be a floating window, and I have a top of a box here. Actually, it was pretty much the box itself. It had a liner with some cardboard in it at the bottom, and then it had this top with the flap. Well, first thing I did was cut the flap off. Then secondly, I made some cuts with my punch here. And when I've run out of space now on the top. So what I'm going to do is cut the corners of the box itself. And this is plastic, or what you would call acetate. And I'm going to cut this side. Down the hole. To the bottom, and then I'm going to cut this side to the bottom, and we'll see what we have here. First I have this little piece that's in my way, but hopefully I can cut around it. So we'll cut down here, and this should make it so that my box panel will lay flat against the table. And there we go. I'm not worried about this part here. I'm just going to be using the bottom, and there's enough room on here. I could probably get 6 punches if I want. But right now, and I want to show you this because I had someone call me one time. She had done a lot of stamping, and she said, I bought this punch and it won't mash down. And she says, I don't know what to do to it. But it's probably no good. That's why I got it as a bargain. And I said, no, that's not the problem. This little bar down here is there for a reason. You mash down on it, and then you push it, and voila, the punch opens up. And you put your paper or whatever you're punching in it. But she didn't realize that this locks so that it could be in a cabinet, not take so much space, up on a shelf and not take so much space. Now, you may hear me sneeze a lot during this video because I think I have spring fever or allergy or something. Everything is blooming. And so I'm sneezing every once in a while. Okay. Now I've got the plastic inside my punch, and I've got it as far as it will go. Now, this punch isn't too terribly hard to do, but I've gotten weaker, so I'm going to see if it will punch if I'm standing up. Okay. Now let's see if we have anything here. There's my circle. And it's pretty much round. It looks round to me. So that's what we've got there. And see, I've got plenty of, well, it's not plenty, but I have some more of the box that I could make another one with, in case I don't like the results of the one I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to take the scissors. This has, looks like some little snowflakes cut out of it. And I want to make sure that I cut down far enough. Okay, we have a piece of paper here, cardstock. You notice it's got some glitter in it, foil. I thought I'd try using it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the top. And I'm going to make sure it's straight, so I'm just going to cut a piece here across. Well, that looks pretty straight. So I'm going to put my pieces down in the order in which I cut them. And you'll see why in a minute. Now the first was about 1/4 of an inch. This is not quite a half. I'm not sure how many pieces I need, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut up the whole thing. Okay. Okay, now we have our pieces there. I've got my piece of plastic, acetate. And next thing I'm trying to get hold of is some dimensionals. Okay, now let's see what we got here. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I'm going to give you a hint. And I cut the waist, the dimensional waist, and use it as well as the pop dots. So, let's see what we have here. Since the first strip I've got is fairly small, I'm going to cut a small strip right down by the holes. Now, this sticks just as well as the holes. So if you are throwing away the dimensional waist, you're throwing away half of your card of dimensions. Okay, let's see. this to match the length of my strip. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the paper off the top. Then I'm going to take the paper off the bottom. And that will leave me my strip that's sticky on both sides. And I'm going to put this on here. Let's see. I want my purple to show. So I'm going to stick it on the edge of my strip. Oops, I picked up the wrong strip. Now, I just barely have that on the edge. Let's see, I have some purple coming up the middle, so I'll just slide this over a little bit so it's in the center. There you go. Now, let's go to the second strip. The second strip's a little wider. And I could use a bigger piece of dots. So I'm going to go right down the middle here. I'm going to kind of measure it. I take the cover off of the back and put it on. Now I'm going to take the cover off the top. And I'm going to kind of match up my pattern. And I leave a little space in between. Okay, let's go to the third one. Let me put this one back so I don't remember where it was. It was over there. Okay. This time I can use my tape. And I'll just put it on here like this. And I'll cut it off. And I don't have to go to the very edge of these. Now the inside is already sticky, so I only have to get the outside paper off. And that's right here. Now, I'm going to kind of match up my pattern again. Put it a little closer. There we go. And we're back down to our skinny strip. And I think I had a piece left over. Here it is. Doesn't matter which side you get the paper off on, whether it's the top or the bottom. Now this one I'm going to see how far it reaches. There we go. There we go. Now, see, even though it's got a design on the back, it doesn't matter. I'm going to trim it down. I'll turn to the back so I can see the acetate. And I'm going to cut right around the acetate. Okay, we now have this trimmed down to what we want. Now, I brought this back up here because when you look at it, which way does this go, you know, you can't really tell. But if you look in here, you'll see that this tree is facing up, and this tree is facing up. And this right here seems to be just a blur, and that's what we have here. I don't have my tree upside down or anything. That's a blur, and this is the beginning of the tree that is purple, like this. So this is upright, and you want to make sure you do it upright. Now you could also, I like mine going across, but you could also do one with it sideways. Cut your panels and then just put them on sideways. I like mine straight. So now that I have that, I've got to take my dimensionals again, and I have to have a way of putting it on my card. Okay, now I've got my card here, and I'm gonna put this on, but I need a way of doing it so you can't see the dimensionals.
What else?
First, I'm going to take my big piece here and use my scissors and cut a square. And since this one's big, I'm going to put the square onto it. I'll take the top paper off. Okay, so that's one side. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, this is pretty large here, so I'm going to cut a smaller piece here. And put it at the edge. And I'm going to put a smaller piece at the bottom. I don't think it'll show. At least unless somebody looks under the circle and sees it. So let's look at this. Yeah, I don't really see the pop dot anywhere. So this one I didn't take the cover off of. Okay, Now we decided that cream tree is right side up. So I'm going to put this pretty much in the front. And I want to put something else here, and I'm not sure what I want. Let me try something and see if it works. I have some flowers here. To put some flowers down here, but I don't think that'll do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just put the sentiment down. I'm going to get out a couple here. Okay, I put my flowers down like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let them just go down the side there. We'll see how it looks after I put my sentiment on it. And I'm going to use one of these. Let that be down the side. Now I'll glue that after I get my sentiment on. So let's get one out here. And it says, do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for what He's done. Philippians 4:6. Okay, I like these acrylic blocks that have lines on it, because that way you can line up your words. I will use my Memento Tuxedo Black. Get my flowers out of the way. There we go. Now we'll get rid of our ink out of the way. Our paper. Now I'm going to use a real small piece. I could use a pop dot, but I'm going to use this instead. I'm going to put it under a flower. And again, take off the paper. Now, usually do things in excuse me, in odd numbers. So I'm doing my flowers in threes. And I want space between them. And I want to make sure that I even it out. So what I'm going to do, I have to take the piece of paper off. What I'm going to do is one at the top and one at the bottom. Now, we'll do the third flower. And and the way they're made, you can put a pretty good size piece of dimensional under. Now, I want to make sure I have this in the middle, so that's why I did the top one. And then the bottom one, and put the middle one in between. And this is my card. I think it's pretty neat. Looks kind of interesting. And it's all nature. Nature as far as the trees are concerned, and nature as far as the flowers are concerned. Now, let's see what else we might have here. I've done a couple others that are similar, but I did it differently. There's one there that I've done. And these are wooden, so they stick up just like that does. This one is not wooden. These are actual little paper flowers. And I have not put a sentiment here. So since I have this one already out, we'll just put the very same thing on the end. Let me get some of these papers out of the way. Okay. I usually keep a stamp that I'm working with on here, so I don't lose it. There we go. There's a third one. Now, I would really like to know which one you like. You like the one with the flowers? You like ones with the wooden butterflies? Or do you like the one with the paper butterflies? All three of them are different papers. This looks almost alike, but it's not. It's different papers. So let's take a peek at how they look close up. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please come back and see me and see what I have in store for you for next time. In the meantime, have a great crafting day, and don't forget, please subscribe. Hope to see you next time. Bye.